Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Above the Rim. Tonight, we're joined by Georgia Southern Eagles tight end, uh, the big star of the show to close off the end of last season. Now looking to make strides heading into this year, Mr. Beau Johnson. Before we continue, going to give you a chance to tell us a bit more about yourself, Beau.
First and foremost, good evening, everyone. Beau Johnson from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So a good ways away from home, but you know what I'm saying. Kind of got adopted into this Georgia Southern thing, so it's been a blessing to be here. And a fun fact, I don't even know if you knew, but my mom, she's our family's from the Bahamas too, so
Yeah,
so you know what I'm saying. We got the Bahamian connection over there, so
for
got
sure.
that going on.
So let's talk right into it, man. Let's talk about high school for you. Growing up, your dad played in the MLB. So what made you decide that you want to pursue a career in football?
Honestly, speaking, baseball was really my first love. Honestly, and it was like that for some years, all the way really up until high school. Baseball is kind of one of those things where you gotta play year round to really be good at, and it was like a mixture of that, and then obviously the excitement of football and
Yeah.
getting recruited and stuff like that. So you know, what I'm saying stuff started to pick up on that side, and I kind of just like let me just go all in with this football thing. So
Let's talk about football for you. You were highly ranked. I think the number 87 tight end in the country. Some place had you as high as number 79 coming out of high school. You led your team to two state championships. What was those moments like for you on the field, getting to be alongside your brothers and going down and win a championship for your school?
oh man, that was everything. I owe a lot to American Heritage. That place really sculpted me to really be who I am and really push me to the next level. State championships were awesome, but that was really the standard coming out of coming out when I was in high school. That was the standard just to win, honestly. And down south, obviously in South Florida,
Yeah,
especially in Broward County and Miami, is a really competitive environment. I would say just as far as football and really just athletics in general. So
yeah.
yeah, it's a football hotbed down there for sure. But state championships were really cool. I would say just stuff that you'll never forget that you hold on to for a lifetime.
So why Georgia Southern of all the schools that came after you? What made being an Eagle the top option for you?
Honestly, it's kind of funny how all of that kind of came about, honestly, but that was, I would say, like obviously it was a choice that I had that I
Yeah,
took upon, um, and I couldn't say when I first made a decision that I was like this is like everything I've ever wanted, but
yeah.
like it's funny how God works in mysterious ways, and he works in ways that you may not be able to see or at the time. So it honestly this place has been the like one of the biggest blessings to me, honestly, as far as personal growth, spiritual, and just making friends and memories that I'll take with me for a lifetime. So I would say this is, like I said, one of the biggest blessings I've ever been a part of.
Now let's talk a little bit more about your time here as an Eagle. You came in as a freshman. First year started two of your first three games, but made the decision to redshirt. What was the
Mhm.
deciding factor for you with that? Why you decided to sit out that first year?
I think I just needed a little more development, honestly. Because when you move from high school to college, as far as like schematics and playbook and stuff like that,
Yeah,
it is hard for a freshman to come in there and you know what I'm saying, do that and get that
yeah.
down pat. So for any freshman that comes in there and starts and does their thing, like I give you the utmost respect. But I would say I just needed development that way, and honestly, physically, just to grow up, build up my muscles and all that type of stuff, and like I
Yeah.
said, mentally. So just to really grow up all around.
Um, Go ahead and into last. Let's go back to last season. You
Okay.
know, you got a big jump as far as playing time wise. Um, Still, of course, not the amount of reps that I'm sure that you were looking for fully, but to end last season, you did something that I'm pretty sure I took yourself. I want to know first, what was your mindset going into that last game of the season?
My mindset was really just keeping the main thing. Like honestly, like when it comes to, and like this is what I've learned like throughout college. When it comes to games, like really like the most like the most important thing you need is your mental. You know what I'm saying? And not even in the standpoint of like, you know what I'm saying? Like I know I have confidence in like scheme and like what I need to do, this, that, the third, but just like the mental game as far as like having confidence in myself and
Right.
faith in the man above, which is the most important thing you can have.
For
So
sure.
I think the back half of the season was really my main focus, really just getting my relationship right with God and just honing in on my self growth. And you know what I'm saying, doing that obviously like through adversity and you know what I'm saying, at the end of the season, at the end of that last game, going into it, I was just so at peace, you know,
Right.
just like, and not even from just a football standpoint, but from a life standpoint, you know, just so at peace and just everything is copacetic. So I guess that did play a part in me, you know what I'm saying, going out on the field and just feeling free, and I guess that shows. So
Feeling free, I'd say, is an understatement for you, man. You had a career high 118 yards, um, and a big 42-yard catch to top that off. I know all season for you it was kind of up and down. Didn't really have the big breakout games, but in spurts it came apparent, what you could do on the field for the Eagles.
yes, sir.
Going into this season, how do you plan to take that momentum from that last game heading into the fall?
Um, you know, like you got to keep it rolling, man. You know what I'm saying, you got to keep the momentum going and just hone in on, obviously, like I'm gonna just hone in on what really worked for me before that last game.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been, you know what I'm saying, like grinding, perfecting my craft, like in all aspects of the game. So really just trying to build off of that and just keep it rolling, you know what I'm saying? And not only just, you know what I'm saying, like honing in on my craft, but like I said, like I mentioned earlier about like the mental game, been
Yeah.
working on that heavy. So, you know what I'm saying, like I had a good spring, good fall camp. So like I know, like like I said, I have faith in God and confidence in me that I know things will go well this year. So that's all good, man. I'm ready. I'm excited.
So let's talk a little bit about this season. What's one game that you got marked in the calendar that you saying, yeah, I can't wait for that one?
Uh, I guess for the time being, game one. You know,
For sure.
I'm a pretty in the moment kind of guy. I do like to, you know what I'm saying, everything's calculated, but I am a in the moment
Yeah.
kind of guy. So, you know, just game one, man, who we have faceless opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's out there, they get the same treatment. Everybody got to go through it. So
For sure.
just I can't wait for game one to just at least get out there, get started. You know what I'm saying? Ain't
Yeah.
nothing like opening day. So
Now, last season, you had a lot of highs, you had a lot of lows. But let's talk about
mhm.
the highs for a minute. Um, First, the big win over Nebraska, and then
Okay.
you guys followed that up with a win against a ranked team in James Madison. Then you
Mhm.
closed the season in dramatic fashion to clinch the bowl game against your rival in App State. What was it like for you to be a part of three historic wins for the program last year?
Honestly, like, you know what I'm saying, those moments are truly priceless. You know what I'm saying? Like just to be out there with your brothers and the people who've grinded all summer with, all year with. Honestly, yeah, I'll say all year because really it's like we don't have a break. So
Yeah.
just to be there with your brothers that you grind all year with, and then just to see the fruit from the labor is very, very pleasing to see. So very, very blessed to be a part of stuff like that.
So speaking of highs, we're gonna transition to the lows for a minute. What for you was like the point in the season where you realized that okay, I gotta overcome some adversity here?
Um, I'll say probably like mid season. I think I was I think I was playing like with my mental not at the best state that I needed it to be in,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of tough. Because like I mentioned before, that's like the key component of being a successful athlete. Honestly, that a
Yeah.
lot of people don't really talk about. And just becoming better mentally. But like I said, mid season that was pretty, it was pretty tough. But like I said, I worked through that adversity and got through that. So yeah, I would say mid season was pretty tough, and I'll double on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just body wise, you know what I'm saying? Like you get to mid season, like everybody's dinged up, everybody's beat
Yeah,
up,
you
kind
start
of.
to wear
So
down.
you know what I'm saying? So not
Yeah.
everybody's 100%. So it's kind of hard to battle through all of that stuff, but it's kind of like everybody's going through the same thing, like whether you see it or not. So you might as well not even feel bad for yourself. Buckle it up and get the rocking and rolling.
So let's talk a little bit about the offseason. It's been a lot of changes in college football, to say the least, with a lot of conference realignment, teams crossing over from this place to the next. What's your perspective, or what's your take on all the movement around amongst teams and conferences?
Um, Honestly, I really like it. Honestly, there's a lot of teams that have been kind of beaten up on
Mm-hmm.
whatever conference they've been in, and a lot of teams have been dominating for a lot of years, and you know what I'm saying, really might need better competition, or you know what I'm saying, like a better level of talent to play against. So I'm all for it, man. Just if you're doing good, if you can move up, go. I'm all for it. You'll be that.
Now you also had a chance to experience a few different coaches while you've been in college. What's the
Mm-hmm.
transition like? What was it, or what was it like for you with a new coach and Coach Helton coming in last year? And how have you improved with it getting into his play style, his play scheme going into this season?
Um, well, first off, like as far as like the coaching changes, like that stuff's always it's always tough.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, like you spend so much time with the coaches, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it almost becomes like such like a tight bond that it's like it's hard to let go, if
Yeah,
that makes sense. Um, but like I quickly learned that, you know what I'm saying, college is a business, and you can't blame, you know what I'm saying, like coaches for going on to get, you know what I'm saying, better opportunity and stuff like that, because you know what I'm saying, that's life.
yeah,
So just dealing, obviously it taught me how to go through changes and stuff like that, but bringing it to obviously Coach Helton getting here, I really do love it. I love the offensive scheme. We we have like so much talent, but the playbook and just the play calling, how we just run things is amazing too. So it's
yeah.
just a double-edged sword, honestly. So I love it. I really do.
Let's talk a little bit about some changes in football, with football being a business now.
Mm-hmm.
NIL, it's completely changed the landscape of collegiate athletics all across the board. You're one
Absolutely.
person that's benefited from it so far. What's your
Mm.
perspective on it? Do you feel like it's helping or hurting the NCAA, and how do you feel about it?
Uh, Honestly, like I love it personally because you know what I'm saying. Like I feel like us as athletes do come out there and spend like countless amount of hours and time and grind. So it's like to be able to benefit in another way, and then on top of that, build your own brand in your face. So by the time you do get outside of football, like you have a platform that you can, you know what I'm saying, build off of, what you know what I'm saying, as far as like any type of walk that you want to go through in life. But
Yeah,
I do think it's awesome, man, just to be able to work with different brands. Like it really also teaches you business, honestly,
yeah,
because you know what I'm saying. Like I know, like really all sports, like we're really engulfed in sports like all year round. So it's like you really don't have much time to really do or learn much else, you know.
yeah.
So just it teaches you how to, you know what I'm saying, conduct business, and you know what I'm saying, talking to different people and all that type of stuff. So that definitely cool experience all around. But it does make, I would say it does make the playing field of college a little bit trickier though. I
Yeah.
will say that.
Last season, you had an exceptional quarterback throwing the rock to you, and Kyle Van Treese. He broke a lot of records for Georgia Southern last year. You have a new guy under center for you this season. I don't know if the start's been announced yet. I haven't heard anything about it, but there's a new guy in the center for you guys. What's the chemistry been like with you and the guys in camp this year?
The chemistry's been great, honestly. We brought in a couple new guys, and they're all very adequate. You know what I'm saying? They're all very good. We got great chemistry. It's not just with me and the QB, but really everybody else. So we got good chemistry, really with, you know what I'm saying, like top down. Honestly, there's not really a drop off in our depth chart in my eyes. So I'm very confident in it, and I think we'll do some special things this year for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about that jump from high school to college. what was the biggest challenge for you in that transition?
Um, I would say the biggest challenge, like personally, was honestly getting over being homesick.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I know like a lot of guys don't, they might not open up about that for real, but like
Yeah.
that was really big for me, coming from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is obviously a city, and
Yeah.
coming to Georgia Southern, Statesboro, Georgia is like a complete culture shock. So like
Yeah.
that was crazy to me, but I definitely I had plenty of nights freshman year just in the room, being completely honest, just what I'm saying, crying, just what I'm saying, like homesick, man. I miss I'm a big family guy, close with my family, so
Yeah.
just it was tough on me, but what I'm saying, the people around here just they made me grow up and really form into the brotherhood here, and I'm really appreciative for that.
So speaking of special things, do you have any personal goals or expectations for yourself this season?
Um, I guess I mean I obviously I do specifically like as far as stats that I wouldn't really get into, but just like general personal goals, I would say I want to win the Sun Belt for sure. That's one thing that I want to bring back here. Win the Sun Belt for sure, and I would like to go undefeated, and I'm confident that we can do that honestly. So we do have a lot of doubters, a lot of people that don't really tout us highly
Yeah,
in the Sun Belt, but you can't really listen to that. You just got to put your head down and work, and the proof is going to be in the pudding later. So.
for sure. This is a conference that obviously anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday.
Mhm.
Um, so what's one thing that the coaching staff emphasized to you guys in order to keep your head on straight and not let the outside noise get to you?
Uh, the main thing they always preach is what we got. They always say talking about how we've got faceless opponents every week. So no matter who it is, whether it's saying Wisconsin or whether it's the Citadel, saying like everybody's the same, and we gotta
Yeah.
we gotta come into every game and attack everybody the same, and not stoop to anybody's level. Just play our ball, and that's all we need to do.
Let's talk a little bit about your passion off the field now, being in the kitchen. Of course,
Mhm.
like you said earlier, you got ties to the Bahamas, so I know that tasting good food and good cooking is no stranger to you.
Absolutely.
So, why cooking though? What draws you to the kitchen?
um, Honestly, it's really just like a relaxing thing to me, honestly. And I've always grew up watching my mom and dad around the kitchen. My mom cooks up a storm. She, what I'm saying, my dad gets out on the grill. He likes to cook too, but I just came from a cooking family, so just always being around watching it and just it's always been interesting to me. And on top of that, like, what I'm saying, everybody loves food, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
just to be able to feed somebody and see a smile on their face is just priceless to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I'm a people pleaser in general, but it's always nice to see somebody happy.
So, what advice would you give to a young cat coming up, from the same place as you, or a kid from the Bahamas that decided that football is what he wanted to pursue outside of other sports? What's the advice you give to those young kids coming up on to be able to be in a position that you are, or even a higher level?
Um, I'll say probably like three things. One, gotta work on your mental. Um, and when I say work on your mental, obviously like personal, but you gotta train your mind to really rely on the man upstairs. Cause that's what it really comes down to, honestly. If you have faith in him, like really nothing can phase you. So I'll say that's the key component right there. Faith, faith in God, or at least believe in something. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Two, I'll say obviously like this is kind of cliche, but hard work. You know what I'm saying? Just work your tail off, man. Don't ever let any type of what I'm saying, like think about your like size or anything like that. Like I'm the smallest. I'm the smallest tight end in my room. I'll probably be the smallest in the Sun Belt, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying, that never stopped me, never deterred me from going out there and you know what I'm saying, being who I am and producing. And the third thing, which is really important, is you gotta be you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't let anybody or any coach or anybody conform you into somebody you're not.
Right.
And it's just so important to be you because you like in this game you really can get lost. You know what I'm saying? Chasing unanimous love. You know what I'm saying? So like you really gotta stick to you, be true to you, and that's all you need to be. You know what I'm saying? If as long as you and you do you, like that should always be good enough. And then if it's not, then I guess it wasn't meant to be. But just be you. That's what I'll say.
But why, when it comes to picking a position for you early on, why did you decide that you wanted to be a tight end as opposed to any other position?
Um, I don't know. Honestly, it just kind of like I kind of just fell into it. I know I wanted to be on the offensive side of the ball. I said I love to touch the rock. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess I kind of just got walked into it. There's nothing that be like, oh, I want to play tight end. I kind of just walked into it. But I love the position. I love everything about it. So I'm satisfied, man. I'm glad I chose this route.
So what's the best piece of life advice that you've received? You've received over the years?
Ooh. Um, there's one that's always stuck with me. Is actually Coach Hutton's dad. He comes every now and then for a couple weeks to spend time with the team.
Mm-hmm.
But one day we were talking after practice. I think I had kind of like a bad practice. I was kind of down. But he left this quote with me, and he was like, don't dwell on the old. No, don't dwell on the past. That's only for old people."
Yeah,
And like, I don't like. It's kind of funny when he said it, but
it's a
like,
good one.
like it really stuck with me because like, honestly, like, there's no reason to really dwell and think about the past because there's nothing you can change. And then on top of that, when you're thinking about the past, you clouding up your mind for the present, and you're not working towards the future. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's all a chain reaction. So like, I guess that's one of the biggest things I would say.
For sure. So if you weren't Eagle playing football at Georgia Southern, what would you be doing right now?
If I would not, ooh, that's a good question. Um, I guess that kind of, I guess I could kind of just play off of what I want to do after I'm done with ball. If
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. So I do want to end up owning a couple restaurants. That's like my end goal. That's like my dream stuff outside of football.
Right.
But I would say that, and I'm currently in a marketing major, so just doing anything having to do with marketing, I'd like to get on with like just be the more on the creative side, coming up with sales pitches and you know what I'm saying, like commercial material and all that type of stuff. So
So let's talk a little bit about life after football for you. You know, you said that you wanted to be a restaurant owner as well as get into marketing.
mm.
Um, but let's go closer. Like at the end of college football for you, what's the next step? Is it pursuing a career in NFL? Or are you trying to get right into the business world?
I'll definitely love to pursue an NFL career, if the Lord allows that or blesses me with opportunity. If not, it's not end all be all. And that's kind of why I'm trying to build my platform now. Because at the end of the day, and like this is advice I'll give a lot of other kids too. Like at the end of the day, someday the sport is gonna end.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of coaches along the way that's, you know what I'm saying, I always said that, but it's kind of hard as a young mobile kid to like really comprehend that, I guess. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, and on top of that, like it's so much more to life than just the sport. And I think as athletes, you kind of get lost in that, obviously, because like, I mean, you spend most of your time doing it, but there's so much more to life. You got to get outside of that box. So I kind of went on a tangent just now, but like I said, I do if the Lord allows me to have an opportunity to go into the NFL, I'd love to. And if not, like I said, not end all be all. I'll try to start up my businesses and get stuff going for the real life.
So how do you keep a level-headed mindset when it comes to stuff that understanding that, you know, at some point the football is gonna go flat on me and I can't catch it forever because a lot of people, like you said, they play the sport from their kids up until their mid-20s or you know early teens, late teens, mid-20s, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, and one day when that game stops, it's like they lost. You
Mm-hmm.
know, for a lot of people that happens after they complete high school, that first year in college, but they're not acting anymore. Like you kind of lost yourself How do you keep a level at knowing that okay, one day this thing can end for me, but I have something else to work towards?
Um, Honestly, like it really just comes from, you know what I'm saying, like watching other people. The best lesson learned is, you know what I'm saying, learning through somebody else's,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, occurrences and mistakes and all that type of stuff. And I've seen a lot of people crash and burn out after, you know what I'm saying, they leave the sport or the sport is taken away from them earlier than they expected. And you know what I'm saying, a lot of people fall into like this kind of identity crisis. And I never wanted that to be me. So, and you know what I'm saying, my mom, she always did a good job, my mom and my dad, of just making sure we're well rounded and we're not just, you know what I'm saying, known as football players. Cause no, my shout out my brother, he plays football as well. He plays for the Denver Broncos, he's a receiver. But
Nice.
you know what I'm saying, they always, you know, raised us that like you don't want to let your sport define you, you know what I'm saying? And it goes back into so much more to life. So just having that at the forefront of my mind and just not wanting to be defined as just a football player is kind of how that keeps me level headed.
So what's it like for you having a brother that's already, achieving the dream that you're trying to pursue after? What's that like for you?
Oh man, it's awesome. It's awesome just to see him go. He's that's my biggest inspiration. He's always been my role model. He's 2 years older than me. That's my only brother. So
Mhm.
uh just watching him and you know what I'm saying, like really just seeing him like chase his dreams and achieve his dreams is like is priceless to me, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like I said, it's the blueprint. And obviously, I talked to him a bunch, and he's always preaching to me that like, but like you're not as far as you think you are. And
Mhm.
that's another big piece of life advice that I was given from him. But like,
Right.
you're never as far from your goals as you think you are. So you always got to keep plucking away, keep your head down, and uh, just having him around is like it feels so much more attainable. You know,
Yeah.
like when you have somebody close to you really doing their thing and everything like that, it's like, okay, like, cool. If he could do it, like I could do it, you know. So
Yeah.
it gives you that subtle confidence. So I love it.
Are we gonna wrap it up right here? Every time we end an interview, we end it with a legacy question. So for you with football, when the game comes to an end for you, you've caught your last touchdown pass. How do you want to be remembered by the game of football?
Uh, by the game of football, I would really like to be remembered as one of the one of the best teammates, one of the best brothers that anybody could have. I want to be remembered as a happy guy, life of the party. Like that's, you know what I'm saying. But that's me. So
Mhm.
that's what I would expect to be remembered as. But not only that, I really want to be remembered as that person that always made sure everybody else was straight too. Because that's a big life goal of mine. One of my biggest life goals is to I want to be able to bless else somebody else's life to the point where they can never pay me in return. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just want my legacy to have people see God's light shine through me. So I would say that's that.
As a man of faith, I firmly believe that all the expectations you have set for yourself, are gonna come to pass because you exemplify what it means to be a student athlete both on and off the field.
I
Just through this
appreciate that.
conversation, I was inspired by the words that you shared. I'm sure that the viewers when they see this, they're gonna be and just as inspired as myself as well.
I
And so
appreciate that.
with that, we want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. To watching Above the Rim once again. Beau Johnson, tight end for the Georgia Southern Eagles. Before we close it out, one last time, we're gonna let Beau just impart a few words of wisdom and then we end it right there.
Um, at the end of the day, guys, all you need is faith. All you need is faith in God and love. Love runs the world. Love makes everything go around. So as long as you keep those two things in the forefront of your brain, you'll have a good life ahead of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beau Johnson, tight end for the Georgia Southern Eagles, opens the season next Saturday against the Citadel at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia. If you're in the area, please come on and support our guy as he looks to make his name heard once again in the Sun Belt Conference.